Alex Eala just made a promise that could change everything. She says she'll share her DC Open winnings with the fans if she becomes champion. But this isn't just about money. This is about something much deeper. A 20-year-old from the Philippines who has already beaten Grand Slam champions. A woman who grew up witnessing poverty and made a vow to never forget where she came from. Now she's standing on the brink of her biggest victory yet. And she wants to bring her fans with her every step of the way. Is this the most selfless gesture in tennis history? Or the beginning of something even bigger? Washington, D.C., July 2026. The Mubadala DC Open is just days away and the tennis world is buzzing. Not just because of the star-studded field, not even because Venus Williams is making another appearance at 46 years old. Something else has captured the world's attention. A 20-year-old from the Philippines just made a promise that nobody saw coming. Alex Eala has announced that if she wins the DC Open singles title, she will share her prize money with the fans who have supported her every step of the way. Now let's be clear, this isn't a small gesture. The DC Open is a WTA 500 tournament. For a player like Eala, currently ranked world No. 28 with 1,666 ranking points, a championship finish here would add a massive 500 points to her total. It could vault her into the top 25 or even the top 20 for the first time in her career. But she's willing to give a portion of that to complete strangers. The tennis world has seen plenty of charitable gestures before. Players donate to foundations, host clinics for underprivileged kids, and speak out on social issues. But this is different. This is personal. This is a player looking at the people who filled stadiums for her matches, who stayed up until 3 a.m. in Manila to watch her play at Wimbledon, and saying, "What's mine is yours." And here's the thing. If you know Alex Eala's story, this promise doesn't come as a surprise. Born in Quezon City, Philippines, Eala's journey to professional tennis was never straightforward. Her first tennis courts weren't immaculate grass or pristine hard courts. They were basketball courts painted with tennis lines. She would practice with her brother and her grandfather, Roberto, who also served as her first coach. Imagine that for a moment. A little girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes, training on a basketball court, having to avoid the hoops every time she moved. That girl grew up watching Maria Sharapova on television, dreaming of one day standing on the same courts as her idols. And now she is the idol. But she never forgot where she came from. In July 2026, Eala made a trip back to Manila after her historic Wimbledon run. She met fans who told her their stories of struggle, stories of hope, stories of a nation that had finally found a world-class athlete to rally behind. On her Instagram page, she wrote a message that would foreshadow everything to come. That's a wrap on Manila. "Maraming salamat sa pagtanggap sa akin mga kababayan," she wrote. "Each and every one of your stories has touched me on a profound level. I leave with a refreshed memory of what I carry when I'm out there playing tennis. And wow, is it a privilege to be part of something bigger than myself? Never been prouder to represent home." Those words, "something bigger than myself," are the key to understanding Alex Eala. This isn't just about tennis for her. It never has been. When she stunned the world by defeating defending Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek 7-6, 6-2 on center court, she didn't celebrate like someone who had just achieved a personal milestone. She celebrated like someone carrying the weight of an entire nation. "I'm really emotional," she said after that historic victory. Maybe for someone like Iga, who has won so many slams, or maybe someone like Serena or Venus, this achievement may seem small, but for someone who grew up in the Philippines, "You know, I went to train with my brother and my grandfather every day after school with my ruffled socks and my light-up shoes and chubby cheeks." The tennis world fell in love with her, not just because she could beat Grand Slam champions, but because she refused to forget who she was. Iga Swiatek, the former U.S. Open champion and now a prominent tennis podcaster, couldn't stop praising the phenomenon that is Alex Eala. "Eala Mania is fun," he said on his podcast. "I'm sorry, when you have watch parties in arenas around your country for a fourth-round match, I'm in." He described her impact as nothing less than a movement. "I don't want to hear any of that like, I don't care, stop talking. No, this is a movement she is single-handedly creating. A movement of a sect of tennis fandom that largely didn't exist a couple of years ago. Thank you. And now, this movement is about to reach Washington, D.C. The Mubadala DC Open, scheduled from July 27 to August 2, will see Eala compete not just in the singles draw, but also in doubles alongside Venus Williams. The Dream Team, as the tournament called them, will reunite after their successful partnership at the Bad Homburg Open last month. They reached the quarterfinals there, with Williams calling Eala the best partner. But it's the singles where the real drama lies. Eala is the 10th seed in the tournament, and the field is stacked. Naomi Osaka, Leylah Fernandez, Elina Svitolina, a deep run here could solidify her place among the world's elite. Winning the whole thing? That would be a statement heard around the world. And here's what makes it even more remarkable. Eala is known for her humility, even in victory. After winning the Birmingham Open, her second WTA 125 title, she was asked about the significance of joining legends like Maud Watson, Billie Jean King, and Maria Sharapova as Birmingham's champions. Her response was quintessential Alex Eala. It sounds really beautiful, of course. All those names you've mentioned are tennis greats, and I am so honored to be lifting this trophy today, she said. But lifting this trophy does not mean that I will be among the greats yet. So I am motivated to keep working, and I am grateful for the part that this trophy has played in my journey. That's the mind of a champion. A champion who knows that trophies are just milestones, not destinations. A champion who understands that the work is never done. But now, this same humble athlete has made a promise that has stunned the entire tennis community. If she wins the DC Open, she'll share her prize money with the fans, not with a foundation, not through a charity, directly to the people who cheered her on from Manila to Mallorca. Why would she do that? What drives a 20-year-old to give away a significant portion of her winnings to people she doesn't know? The answer lies in that trip to Manila, in the stories she heard. In the realization that her success isn't just hers, it belongs to the millions of Filipinos who see themselves in her. What would you do if you were standing on the brink of your biggest victory yet? To understand why a 20-year-old would promise to share her winnings with complete strangers, you have to go back to the beginning. You have to understand where Alex Eala came from, because that's the only way to understand who she is today. Born on May 23, 2005, in Quezon City, Philippines, Eala's first tennis courts weren't manicured grass or pristine hard courts. They were basketball courts painted with tennis lines. She would train with her brother and her grandfather, Roberto, adjusting her shots to avoid the basketball hoops. Proper grass courts simply weren't available. And here's the thing, tennis wasn't just a sport for the Eala family. It was a way of life. Athletic excellence was woven into the very fabric of her household. Her mother, Riza, was a former competitive swimmer who clinched a bronze medal in the 100-meter backstroke at the 1985's ECE Games. She later rose to become the chief financial officer at Globe, one of the Philippines' largest telecom giants. Her father, Mike, kept a lower profile, but her uncle, Noli Eala, is a well-known sports commissioner in Philippine basketball. Her brother, Miko, would go on to play collegiate tennis at Penn State University. And then there was her grandfather, Roberto, the man who first put a racket in her hands. From the age of 3.5 to 13, Eala trained with her grandfather every single day, alongside her brother. That was her childhood. Training, learning, growing, developing the foundation that would one day carry her to the biggest stages in the world. I never looked back because I don't know what intrigued me about it, she once recalled. But I think my parents prioritized putting me into sports. At age 4, tennis was simply what the family did together. Eala would watch her brother and grandfather play at the Valle Verde Country Club, too young to hold a racket. But within a few years, she was training alongside them, and the passion took hold in a way that would never let go. Here's what makes Eala's story even more remarkable. Her parents allowed her to explore other sports. She tried swimming, following in her mother's footsteps. But she didn't feel the same spark, the same excitement that tennis gave her. She discerned that it was best to stay with something she was passionate about, matched with her quick progress and advanced skills. So she committed to tennis, completely. At just 12 years old, Eala won the 2018 Les Petits As tournament in France, one of the most prestigious 14 and under events in the world. She defeated Linda Noskova in the finals, a name that would later become familiar in the professional ranks. That victory changed everything. Rafa Nadal Academy representatives noticed her performance and reached out to her family with an offer: a full-time scholarship to train in Mallorca, Spain. It was an opportunity that would require an unimaginable sacrifice. A 13-year-old girl leaving her home, her family, her entire life in Manila, to move halfway across the world. But Eala's parents made the decision, and she made the move. I moved to Spain at 13. We started obviously in Asia, and then we would go to Europe as well. America. Then I guess a big opportunity came when I won Les Petits. I went with my dad. We were just there, and we won it, and Rafa Nadal Academy reached out to me, so that was a big thing. Imagine that for a moment. A 13-year-old girl, thousands of miles from home, in a foreign country where the language, culture, and lifestyle were completely different. The Philippines is not a country known for tennis. Resources are limited, and the infrastructure simply doesn't exist to develop world-class players. But at the Rafa Nadal Academy, Eala had everything she needed: world-class coaching, cutting-edge facilities, and the opportunity to compete against the best young players from around the globe. And then came that unforgettable moment at the Madrid airport. Eala, her parents, and her brother were flying to Spain for a trial week at the academy. As they were walking through the airport, they spotted Rafael Nadal, just walking past them. "We kind of chased him down," Eala later told Andy Roddick on his podcast. "Rafa, we're going to your academy. Can we take a pic?" And yeah, he took a pic with us. "That was the first interaction I remember in Spain. A good way to start," she said. And the journey was only just beginning. Eala spent the next 5 years at the Rafa Nadal Academy, balancing academics with technical training, recovery sessions, and match play. She graduated in 2023, having already made a name for herself in the junior ranks. But the academy wasn't just about the training. It was about the culture, the mindset, the way of carrying yourself as a professional. Eala has always been open about the impact Nadal had on her. When she won the 2022 U.S. Open girls singles title, she was asked who she looked up to. Her response was immediate. "Well, I think my idol is obviously Rafa," she said, "but I'm not just saying that because I'm in his academy." She went on to explain why. "The biggest thing I notice in Rafa is how he fights till the end, how his thoughts are so clear. He's so calm, but at the same time so fired up. I think I really tried to channel that energy during this whole week." Years later, when Eala finally got the chance to train on the court with Nadal, she described it as a dream come true. "Training with Rafa is something people and kids can only dream of," she said. "It was an incredible pleasure to share the court with him." But what did she learn about him away from the cameras? What is Rafael Nadal like when the world isn't watching? He doesn't try hard. He has no arrogance. Everything is just so easygoing with him. You can have a normal conversation about anything, and that means a lot for someone of his status. And yet, even after years of knowing him, Eala admitted that she still gets nervous around him. "So you're always going to be scared. I'm always still scared. I don't know what to say. I always get very tongue-tied. It doesn't get easier." Imagine that. A woman who has beaten Grand Slam champions, who has faced the best players in the world on the biggest stages, and she still gets starstruck by her idol. But here's what's truly remarkable about Eala's journey. Despite all the success, the junior Grand Slam titles, the WTA breakthroughs, the rankings climb, she never forgot where she came from. She never forgot her grandfather coaching her on a basketball court. She never forgot her family's support. She never forgot what it means to be Filipino. "It's such a big part of my life and my identity too," she once said. "I love it. That's why I still do it now. But I think it's already ingrained in who I am." The tennis world has embraced Eala not just because of her talent, but because of her authenticity. She doesn't pretend to be something she's not. She's humble, grateful, and deeply aware of the privilege and responsibility that comes with her success. And that's exactly why her promise to share her DC Open winnings with fans makes perfect sense. How many athletes would do the same? Before Alex Eala could even think about the DC Open, before she could make her promise to the fans, she had to prove she belonged on the biggest stages in tennis. And in 2026, she did exactly that. June 2026, Birmingham, England. The grass court season was just beginning, and Eala arrived at the Edgbaston Priory Club with something to prove. The WTA 125 Birmingham Open wasn't the biggest tournament on the calendar, but for a player looking to build momentum before Wimbledon, it was everything. And she delivered. After dropping the first set in the final against Nikola Bartonkova, Eala fought back to win 5-7, 6-3, 7-5 in a grueling 2-hour, 38-minute battle. It was her second WTA 125 title, but more importantly, it was her first career title on grass. The surface that had once been unfamiliar, that had once seemed like a challenge, was now her territory. But that was just the beginning. Just weeks later, Eala arrived at the Berlin Open, a WTA 500 event packed with the world's best players, and what she did there stunned the tennis world. She defeated world number 2 Elena Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon champion. Then she followed it up by taking down number 8 Elina Svitolina, back-to-back victories against top 10 players. A semi-final finish at a 500-level tournament. A statement that she wasn't just a flash in the pan, she was here to stay. Eala Mania is fun, Andy Roddick had declared on his podcast, and now the world was starting to see why. And then came Wimbledon. Seeded no. 29, Eala became the first Filipina singles player ever to be seeded at a Grand Slam. When the draw was announced, the pressure was on, but Eala didn't just handle it. She thrived. Center court. July 4, 2026. The defending champion Iga Swiatek stood across the net, the world number 3. The woman who had presented Eala her graduation diploma at the Rafa Nadal Academy just 3 years earlier. The woman who had told her to be tenacious. And Eala took those words to heart. She stunned Swiatek 7-6, 6-2 in one of the biggest upsets in recent Wimbledon history. The first set lasted 84 minutes, a tense tiebreak that could have gone either way. But Eala held her nerve. And when Swiatek committed 44 unforced errors, Eala pounced, taking control of the second set and closing out the match. "I'm really emotional," she said afterward, tears in her eyes. Maybe for someone like Iga, who has won so many slams, or maybe someone like Serena or Venus, this achievement may seem small, but for someone who grew up in the Philippines. "You know, I went to train with my brother and my grandfather every day after school with my ruffled socks and my light-up shoes and chubby cheeks. So to her, this is everything." That was the moment the world fell in love with Alex Eala. Not because she beat a champion, but because she never forgot the little girl who started on a basketball court in Manila. She dedicated the victory to all the girls with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks. To the Philippines. To everyone who had believed in her when nobody else did. She reached the 4th round, falling to Jasmine Paolini in 3 sets, but the standing ovation she received said everything. She had made history. The first Filipino singles player to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. And along the way, she earned a career-high payout of £309,000, more than 25 million pesos. But it wasn't just about the money for Eala. The ranking points were even more significant. The historic Wimbledon run pushed her to a career-high number 28 in the world. She had become a global sensation. Watch parties were held across the Philippines, including a massive event at the PhilSports Arena. Filipinos who had never watched tennis before were now glued to their screens, cheering for their girl. "It's such a big part of my life and my identity too," she had once said. "I love it. That's why I still do it now. But I think it's already ingrained in who I am." And now, with the hardcourt season approaching, Eala had a golden opportunity. She was defending just 70 ranking points from the previous year's North American swing. A deep run at the DC Open, a WTA 500 tournament, could vault her into the top 25 or even the top 20 for the first time in her career. A quarterfinal finish would give her 108 points. A semifinal 195. A runner-up, 325. A championship finish, 500. The stage was set. The momentum was building. And now, Eala had made a promise that would only add to the pressure. What would you do if you knew the entire world was watching and waiting for you to deliver? Washington, D.C., July 2026. The William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center is ready. The hard courts are polished. The stands are waiting to be filled. And Alex Eala is about to step onto the biggest stage of her North American swing. The Mubadala DC Open is no ordinary tournament. It's the only combined ATP WTA 500 level event on the calendar. Running from July 27 to August 2, it attracts the very best in the sport, and this year's women's singles draw is absolutely stacked. World No. 8 Elina Svitolina leads the field as the projected top seed. She's joined by Naomi Osaka, Jasmine Paolini, Marta Kostyuk, Diana Schneider, Anna Kalinskaya, and defending champion Leylah Fernandez. Top 30 players like Madison Keys, Emma Navarro, Clara Tauson, and Ann Lai round out the competition. 7 top 20 players, a dozen top 30 stars, and right in the middle of it all, Alex Eala, seeded number 29. The draw will be revealed on July 25, just 2 days before the tournament begins. And Eala knows exactly what's at stake. A WTA 500 tournament offers massive ranking points. A quarterfinal finish gives her 108 points. A semifinal, 195. A runner-up finish, 325. And if she wins it all, 500 points. That would vault her into the top 25, possibly even the top 20 for the first time in her career. For comparison, at the Abu Dhabi Open earlier this year, reaching the quarterfinals earned her $35,000. The DC Open champion takes home significantly more. But there's more on the line than just rankings and money. Eala is also competing in doubles, reuniting with a legend. She and Venus Williams will once again team up. The Dream Team, the tournament calls them. The 46-year-old, 14-time Grand Slam doubles champion, and the 21-year-old rising star from the Philippines. They first partnered at the Bad Homburg Open in June, reaching the quarterfinals before falling to Olivia Nichols and Teresa Mihalikova. Williams called Eala her best partner. Eala called the experience an incredible privilege. It was an incredible experience for me, Eala said in an interview with 24 Horas. Venus has such a special work ethic and such a special mindset, and for who she is so down to earth. So I just took that week to absorb everything I could absorb and learn from her. Now they're back together, this time on American soil. The doubles field is just as stacked, featuring 18 Grand Slam doubles and mixed doubles champions. Nick Kyrgios and Francis Tiafoe are also teaming up in the men's draw. The competition is fierce, the pressure is real, and then there's the promise. Eala has said she'll share her winnings with the fans if she becomes champion. Every match she wins brings her closer to that moment. Every opponent she faces is another obstacle. Another chance to prove that her historic Wimbledon run, defeating Iga Swiatek on center court, wasn't a fluke. It was the beginning of something bigger. After Wimbledon, Eala returned to Manila and spoke of being part of something bigger than myself. Now she has a chance to prove those weren't just words. Imagine the weight she carries onto that court. The hopes of 127 million Filipinos. The memory of her grandfather coaching her on a basketball court. The legacy of Venus Williams standing beside her in doubles. And a promise to the fans who stayed up until 3 a.m. to watch her play. The DC Open isn't just another tournament for Alex Eala. It's her next chapter. What would you do if everything you'd ever worked for came down to the next 7 days? Washington, D.C., the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center is ready. The hard courts gleam under the summer sun. And Alex Eala stands on the brink of something extraordinary. The Mubadala DC Open runs from July 27 to August 2, 2026. Eala is entered in both singles and doubles, once again partnering with tennis icon Venus Williams. The tournament organizers are calling it the Dream Team. Williams, 46, has won 14 Grand Slam doubles titles alongside her sister Serena. Eala, 21, is the rising star from the Philippines who just stunned the world. Their first partnership came at the Bad Homburg Open last month, where they reached the quarterfinals. Eala called the experience an incredible privilege. Williams returned the compliment. describing the Filipina as her best partner. Now they're back together on American soil, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The singles draw is stacked with talent. World no. 3 Jessica Pegula headlines the field, joined by Naomi Osaka, defending champion Leylah Fernandez, Alina Svitolina, Madison Keys, and Emma Navarro. Eala seeded no. 29 with 1,666 ranking points, is a direct entrant. And here's what makes this tournament so crucial. Eala is defending just 70 ranking points across the entire North American hardcourt swing. That means nearly every point she earns from Washington through the US Open will be pure gain. A quarterfinal finish at the DC Open would give her 108 points. A semifinal, 195. A runner-up finish, 325, and a championship finish. The margins are razor-thin, just 163 points separate world number 28 from world number 24. A deep run here could vault Eala into the top 25 or even the top 20 for the first time in her career. But this tournament isn't just about rankings or money. It's about a promise. A promise that only someone with a champion's heart could make. Eala has said she'll share her DC Open winnings with the fans if she becomes champion. The same fans who filled arenas in Manila to watch her Wimbledon matches. The same fans who stayed up until 3 a.m. to cheer her on. The same fans who voted her the WTA's star of the grass court swing with nearly 90% of the vote. She knows what it's like to dream. She was once a little girl with ruffled socks and light-up shoes, training on a basketball court with her grandfather. She never forgot those days. She never forgot the people who believed in her when nobody else did. It's incredible to have my countrymen cheering me on and knowing that we're all in this together, she said after her historic Wimbledon victory over Iga Swiatek. This goes out to them, my family, and all the girls with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks. It means the world. Now she's about to do something that would mean the world to millions. The DC Open Champions prize money is significant, but for Eala, it's never been about the money. It's about the journey, the struggle, the people who made it possible. When asked about her partnership with Venus Williams, Eala spoke of absorbing everything she could from the legend. Venus has such a special work ethic and such a special mindset, and for who she is so down to earth. So I just took that week to absorb everything I could absorb and learn from her. That's Alex Eala, always learning, always growing, always grateful. The draw for the DC Open will be revealed on July 25, just days before the tournament begins. The tennis world will be watching. The Philippines will be watching. She's already won the hearts of millions. A title in Washington would be the ultimate validation. And if she fulfills her promise to share her winnings with the fans, well, that would be something no athlete has ever done before. So here's the question that lingers in the air as she walks onto that court. Is Alex Eala about to become the first champion to truly share her victory with the people who made it possible? One thing is certain, whatever happens in Washington, this young woman from Quezon City has already proven that being a champion isn't just about winning trophies. It's about never forgetting where you came from, and that's something money can never buy.